Hello and welcome back to the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. I am Garion Reaver, and we are in the campaign turn 2, which has increased the size of the battles from 1,500 to 2,000. This is the first battle of the second round, and features the Skullsmasherz Orcs and Goblins army versus the Reikland Empire army. Having a look at the armies, we have a fairly substantial looking Empire army, but these three at the back are just the tight formation versions of the skirmishers, so ignore them. The army is being led by General Anselm Uthman, supported by a battle wizard called Fulk Bar and a warrior priest called Rosen. Here's the whole thing. As I said, it's quite a substantial army with a massive block of halberdiers, a massive block of swordsmen, some great swords, which are very powerful, and some Reiksguard, because this is the Emperor's own force out of Reikland. They are supported by some archers, some huntsmen, and a mortar. And on the opposing side are the Skullsmasherz. It looks like a relatively small army for an Orcs and Goblins army of this size, but that's because the units are very dense. But it is being led by Ugrok Kracktooth himself, the leader of the Skullsmasherz tribe. So who knows what will happen to the tribe if he dies today. He's being supported by a shaman called Omdok the Mad, as well as a couple of night goblins. There's Zarj the Zoblin, who is also the battle standard bearer, and Kiskir the Ramshackle, who is a shaman. The rest of the army, as I said, is quite dense units. We have a massive unit of boar boys, some biggins, some orc boys, and some goblins. And there is also a giant called Boglan. As for the board, it's sort of representing the foothills where the Reikland goes up into the mountains. So we've got some hills, we have two mysterious woods, a Sigmarite shrine, which means that any models belonging to the Orcs and Goblins must reroll successful ward saves within the circle, a Weirding Well, which has a variety of effects if units choose to drink from it if they're within the circle, and a Burning Barricade, which provides soft cover and gives additional sort of effects if someone is charged while defending it. I do still have to work out the spells with Folkbar using the Law of Shadows, but first of all I will determine board edges. Blue is Empire, and it's a draw. Try again. Empire chooses the board edge, so they're going to take the one that has the Burning Barricade on it, which is convenient because that is already where they are. Fulk is a second level wizard, so he gets 2 spells. First one, the Withering. Oh, that is pretty good. That would definitely help them against like the tough orcs, so I'm going to give him the Withering. And his second spell, Penumbral Pendulum. Initiative test. Yes, those are brilliant spells. And these are of the Law of Shadows, which allow him to swap places with a friendly character of the same troop type within 18 inches, but I don't really think he's going to make use of that. Omdok is also a second level wizard. Brain Burster, that could be useful. It's either that or Gaze of Mork. Yeah, I think Gaze of Mork is probably more useful. There aren't that many characters, and certainly none that they're particularly worried about. And the second one is the Hand of Gork. I mean, I have to take that because I've already used the signature spells, so I guess Gaze of Mork and Hand of Gork. Kiskir, however, is only a first level wizard, so his spell, Gift of the Spider God, giving poisoned attacks, or I can swap that for Sneaky Stabbing to give armor piercing. I think armor piercing is more useful, so I will go for Sneaky Stabbing, and he has the Sneaky Stealing law attribute. So those are our spells, and instead of doing the normal deployment, the Skullsmasherz chose Scouts as their event for this turn, which means that anyone they fight this round has to deploy fully first, and then the Skullsmasherz get the first turn. And that's useful because it means the Skullsmasherz can fully deploy against the things that are showing up on this side. Well, I'll have Rosen's unit of swordsmen right in the middle here, and they have to have their archers nearby, so their archers are going up on the hill, and then the unit of halberdiers are going right next to them because they are both huge and both are going to be doing some work, and the archers there as well. The knights are going to deploy on this edge for the open ground, and I know I said I shouldn't deploy knights on the edges anymore, but Like, I'm pushing the board size a bit with this one. The great swords are going to have to go all the way over here. The mortar is going up on the hill, because the mistake I made with the Wyvern battle was not giving the siege engines enough line of sight. And Folk is going to... he's going to mill around behind this unit, I think. And then finally, the Huntsmen, they have the Scout's rules, so they can deploy anywhere as long as they are 12 inches away from the enemy. So, I mean, they're going to go into these woods, because at the moment there are no enemies. And now the Skullsmasherz deploy. So they're going to start with the unit of Big Uns, who are the strongest orcs in the tribe. They're going to go right here to face off against the swordsmen. And you see, the difference is the Empire have gone for hordes to try and make as many attacks as possible, whereas the orcs have gone more for longer units that have more staying power. And I will see if that works out. The orc boys are going to go there, because they're not as certain about the woods. The goblins, who have fanatics hidden within them, are going to... yeah, they're going to go here. And the boars... I think the boars are going to go all the way over here. They're going to go down an edge as well. Boglin, he's going to go there. And then the three characters, Omdok, with his damage and movement, he's going to go here. I'm worried if these woods turn out to be something awful. Kiskier, with his poison. Not poison, no, it's just the buff. He's going to go all the way over here. And then Cracktooth is also going to just hide behind the woods to begin with. And we're leaving this whole area completely blank because there are knights opposite it. So why would I deploy somewhere that is about to face off against the knights? And the last part about the Scouts event is the Skullsmasherz go first. So Skullsmasherz Turn 1. First things first, animosity. We have quite a few animosity. I believe all 4 of these units have animosity to deal with. Animosity is where you roll a dice for each one, and on a 1 they fail it. So we'll start with the boars. Boar boys is what I was trying to say. They've passed. Ordinary boys, the band, the big uns, and the goblins. They all pass. They're all fine. I need to test for the mysterious woods because both have been triggered by units now. So we'll do this one first. A 1, that is a normal forest, no extra rules. And the second one is also a normal forest. Okie dokie. That's a bit boring, but fine. Lucky for the units inside, I guess. I'm not sure if the huntsman can deploy here. I think because of... no, I suppose the idea is that... no, I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it, however, it does immediately triggers the fanatics. Like, literally, the first thing that happens is the fanatics trigger. And that's because they trigger as soon as the unit comes within 8 inches, which they are. So, the fanatics are just going to release, which I didn't expect to happen so soon. Fanatics are essentially night goblins holding giant wrecking balls on chains, and they're all hopped up on mushrooms, and when they get too close to an enemy they just sort of release them and they go spinning their wrecking ball right through whatever is nearby. So they have a whole slew of rules, but to begin with you choose a direction and then they move 2d6 in that direction. And I think they move as a group initially and then count as separate models after that. But either way, I'm going to be releasing them all directly at the huntsman. So 2d6, they all go 8 inches forwards, which places them all the way over here. And do they instantly die because of the woods? They might, you know. Wow. Yeah. If it touches any terrain, an edge, or another fanatic, they die. Because they just get killed by the trees. I think they just die, you know. Wow. I mean, that's incredibly boring, so I'm going to rule that they do smash through the unit anyway. But then, yeah, they're going to die from hitting the trees. Well, that was something I didn't think about when I deployed the unit. First time I've ever used fanatics, I think. Or well, maybe second, but still. Whoops. When fanatics hit a unit, they do d6 strength 5 armor piercing hits. So with all 3 of them doing this, that'll be 3 d6 hits. which is bloody 18. Wow. Okay. Well, that is wounding on a 2+. 7. Yeah, that is all 10 huntsmen immediately dead. That is quite a starting move. Definitely no of their allies within 6 inches. And then all the fanatics die to the trees. They were 75 compared to the huntsman's 90. So I mean, technically the goblins are up at the moment. Also, I should mention, in case you haven't seen the campaign turn, which I recommend you go check out because that gives context to the battles that this is and the upcoming ones, I am slightly changing the way victory points are calculated. Basically, half-dead units now count for half victory points, and that should hopefully stop every battle being a massacre. On with the actual movement now. With them gone, definitely no charges. 4 boys are moving up, and they are probably going to march as well, because they're easily more than 8 inches away. So they're going to march another 7. The goblins, 4 inches, are just going to move into the woods. They're not going to march, though. Orcs are going to move 4, and they're missing the trees. They're going to march for a total of 8. And the big uns are just going to move 4 up, because they are in the trees. Omdok is also going to move 4 up, but he's going to stay in the woods if he can. And Kiskir is just going to sort of run along behind the goblins. And Cracktooth, he is going to rotate 1, 2, and then fly over this way a bit. Flying gives him a movement of 10, so that's plenty. And Boglan is going to move up 6. But he doesn't want to march. I'm worried that he's just going to get demolished by the Reiksguard, but I guess we'll find out. Shooting, I have just realised there is not a single bow in this army. Whoops. Oh well. Guess Ugrock, Cracktooth, is not a big fan of archers. Magic, though. The winds are blowing strong with 6 and 10. 2 channeling on the Orc side. 1 success. 1 channeling on the Empire side. No success. So that is a lot to play with. He's within range if I roll high on Gaze of Mork, so he's going to go with that. Oh yeah, or I can upcast it. So I'm going to go with 4 dice for a 10 on Gaze of Mork. 15, 17 total. But frankly, the Empire isn't worried about the other spells they have, because they're not going to get into combat to use Sneaky Stabbing, and there's nowhere for them to move anything with the Hand of Gork that isn't just going to be right in charging range. So he's going to use all 6 of his Dispel to try and get rid of this one. And easily succeed. And with no combat, that was a fairly quick first turn. Into the Empire first turn. 11. Ooh. I mean, with a move of 4, that's only a 7 on 2 dice. That is actually the average roll, so the Greatswords are going to try and charge just immediately. And they fail by 1! Oh no! So they just move 6 forward. With the rest, the Halberdiers are going to march up to cover the barrier, as are the Swordsmen. This blazing barrier is defended. The Reiksguard are going to move forward 7 inches and then march up to, let's say, 12, and see if I have room to rotate twice. I do. So they are in a position to potentially charge next turn. Folk is going to move 2 inches this way and then 2 inches this way, so that he can see past this if he wants to do his pendulum. And I think that is all the movement, because the archers and the mortar can all see, and the huntsmen are dead. So, magic. I always do that, don't I? I always begin to do shooting before magic and then remember. Anyway, magic. Oh, this is a much weaker magic phase. 6 and 5. Channeling 2 on Orc. Channeling 1 on Empire. Oh, Empire got 1. I kind of want to just do a penumbral pendulum. So I can upcast that for an 18 to double the range, because otherwise 66 is going to be pushing it a bit. Yeah, 66 is unlikely to really hit anything at this range. So I'm going to upcast Penumbral Pendulum on 6 dice. And I need an 18. Oh, that's not a good roll. 23 though I do make it. Dispelling on all 5. Fails to dispel. So Pendulum goes through. So 66 and then double the distance. 23 doubled to 46 inches. 23 would barely have reached them, so it was a good idea to double it. So I think right through there. Because that's clear of his allies and hits their battle standard bearer. So 5 ordinary ones and Zarj the Zoblin are all going to be hit by the Pendulum. Ironically, they're the worst ones in this whole army to hit because they have the highest initiative of 3, but that's still a low initiative. 5 ordinary guys. 4 of them fail, but 1 succeeds. Roll to wound. All 4 are wounded. Absolutely no chance of any armor. But Zarj has a slightly higher initiative, so he succeeds. He is fine. That could have been really nasty to just take out Zarj in the very first spell. Shooting. The balls are going to be tough, but not all of them are within half, but they're still probably the better target. Oh, literally only one of them is within half. Alright. 9 are at long range. 4 hits. And 1 that's not. So 4 hits total. Oh wow, 3 wounds though. That's pretty impressive. Armor save, and only 1 succeeds. So I think they actually, yeah, they just kill off 2 boars with archery. That is sort of impressive. I didn't expect that to do anywhere near that well. I think this unit is gonna... Oh, yeah, I think you can just about see over that. Yeah, I'd say that's within range, but the back row are not. I count a total of 8 that are within range. These back 2 are just because the pillar can't get a line of sight. 4 hits though, that's not bad. 1 wound. Not saved, so they get a kill. But neither this nor the boars is anywhere near enough to trigger panic. And the mortar, I'd say the mortar can see, because the mortar, you see, I ruled that the cannon couldn't shoot through allied units, and that is the case with the mortar, but the mortar fires over, whereas the cannon shoots a ball in a line. The mortar sort of goes over a lot more. So I would say it definitely can shoot at this unit. Yeah, it has line of sight to that, through the gap, and firing over. Roll scatter. 2 inches that way, so probably still going to be pretty much on target. 2 inches brings it to there. So that's still quite a lot of the unit is hitting. The one in the centre gets hit on a strength 6, which is a wound and definitely a kill. And by my count, that is 19. I'm going to give this guy a pass because he's not really on it, or under it rather. So 19 are also hit at strength 2. First 10, that is still 2. Just 2. However, the mortar is armor piercing, so they both fail their armor saves. And with no combat, we go into Skullsmasherz Turn 2. Animosity again going down the line, starting with the boars. Pass. Goblins. Pass. Orcs. Pass. Biggins. Pass. Everyone's fine. The boars are definitely going to charge in there, close enough that they don't need to bother rolling. And that is going to hurt because of my impact hits rule. 12 inches away, so they're going to need an 8 in order to get into contact. But they are going to try it, I think. And they fail, so they only shuffle forwards 5 inches. The Biggins are not going to try it, both because they don't want to charge out of the woods, but also they know that they're not going to abandon their barricade, so they have a bit more time to shifty into good position. Yeah, they're probably going to get charged in the flank. I mean, he can see them, so he can technically charge them. And he'd only need a 4, and that would rob them of their charge. So yeah, Boglin is going to charge them. So he needs a 4, which he gets. And Boglin is a giant which has terror, which is like the upgraded version of fear. So in addition to all fear effects, It also affects things that only inflict fear, and when you charge, they have to immediately take a test to see if they stand their ground in the face of your charge. They're likely to pass testing on a 9. Yes, they pass. But it would have been funny if they'd fled. So, he was here. He's definitely within their front, so he's going to just charge their front. Cracktooth has seen the mortar now, so he is going to... my rules on pivoting is lone characters or monsters, or lone characters riding lone monsters, can pivot freely, whereas basically any other troop type has to use movement to pivot, like a chariot can't just spin on the spot. That will take some of his movement. That's the way I interpret it. So they're going to... what is the wording on marching? Alright, my interpretation of marching is that it's something you choose. I mean, I always sort of rule it as you move and then you decide if you want to march. But I think you can do it as like, I want to march straight away. And the reason that makes a difference is it would double his flight to 20 inches. So if he has to move and then march, he wouldn't be able to land basically anywhere good. But if he can march straight away, he can choose to land sort of all the way over here. So I think I will do that. No, he's going to go over here because he is a little bit afraid of being charged out of there. So he's going to land right there. With the risk being he's now in the Reiksguard way if they manage to kill Boglin very quickly. But he's going to assume that Boglin can help. Goblins are moving up a little, and Kiskir is going to follow. But Omdok is quite happy where he is. Magic! 10 again. Channeling 2. Channeling 1. Nope. Definitely going to open up with another Gaze of Mork, and this is where their lore attribute, Power of Devoir, comes in, where it gives a strength bonus of +1 strength if there are more orc units in combat than fleeing, and at the moment there are 2 in combat. I'm going to go with another upcast Gaze of Mork, so 10. 18 total. And they're going to use all 6 to try and dispel, which they succeed, I believe, with a 21. However, the boars are out of range for Kiskir to actually help them at all with his sneaky stuff. And I don't really have a use. Oh, maybe. Yeah, that could work. 3d6, only up to 18, and I'd need to be rolling like over the odds in order to get them behind. I'm going to try it though. A 14 plus increases it to a 5d6, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and upcast Hand of Gork on 4 dice. No. Oh no, exactly 14. So that passes because they don't have any dispel dice left. So they move 5d6, or up to 5d6. 13 inches. Ooh, is that enough to get them where I want them? It is. Okay. So they're going to move 13 inches. Oh, no, it isn't, because it specifically says they can't be less than an inch away, so they'd have to be sort of there, which is over the 13 inches. Oh, damn, that would have been so good. I know I don't always follow the inch away rule, but when it specifically says it like that, I'm inclined to follow it. In that case, I'm actually going to move them back a bit. Make them a bit harder to charge. If they do want to sort of charge out of their cover, which they totally can. No shooting, so we'll go into combat. We'll start off with Boglin versus Uthman's unit. Despite me naming him, Boglin isn't a character, therefore cannot challenge. So Uthman gets to go first as he is the highest initiative. But first, they do need to take a fear on a 9, which they pass easily. Uthman is wielding the Sword of Striking, which gives him a +1 to hit in combat. And he gets... Wow, that is abysmal. 1 hit. Hitting on a 2+ and he got 1 hit. But he got a wound. No armor, but he does have 6 wounds to go through, so that's 1. I'll do the Reiksguard first, so 3 knights. 3 hits. 3 wounds. Wow. And then 2 horses. 1 hit. No wound. And giants don't fight normally, they don't use normal attacks. You roll a d6 to determine what they do. And the answer is yell and bawl. Neither the giant nor models in contact with him actually fight if they haven't done so already. So, I don't know how that works with the initiative order. I'm going to say that they are allowed to hit because it happens at the same time, but it means the giant wins the combat by 2. So it's a shame he doesn't actually get to hurt any of them, but they do have to just jump straight to testing. But because of Hold the Line, they test on 3 and use the best 2, which is a 5. Oh yeah, I probably should also mention that they are stubborn, which means they ignore combat resolution, so although they lost by 2, it doesn't affect their leadership at all. And this combat, first of all, impact hits because the boars charged. And I have a homebrew rule where they make all cavalry make an impact hits 1, increased in strength by the rank bonus they have, so in this case, increased by 1. But this is where the boar boys might sort of break this rule. They might make it too powerful because they have something called Tusker Charge, which means the boars' strength is increased by 2 on the turn they charge. Combined with the 1 from the rank bonus, that means they have 5 impact hits at +3 strength, which is 4 wounds. And with the high strength, they get no armor save, so that is just 4 greatswords dead, and it counts towards combat resolution. Greatswords are armed with, great swords, so they have always strikes last. And the boars get a round of combat as well, so they are striking still at +3 strength. 5 boars, 2 hits, 1 more wound, still no armor. Total of 11 hits, and they have 2 bonuses here. First of all, they have choppers, which means their strength is increased by 1 in the first turn, and they are also wielding spears, which gives them another +1 on the first, on a charge, so they are also striking at +2 strength. Boss first, 1 hit, 1 wound, and because the boss has higher strength, no save for that either. Then the rest of the unit, 9 attacks, 4 wounds, but they do get a save, and they all 4 fail. The greatswords have been decimated, but they do now get to attack back, and this is where they are good. This is why they're equipped with the heaviest armor, so that they can survive long enough to hit back very, very hard. I didn't challenge. Oh well, I'll just assume I didn't challenge because it's a bit late now. 11 attacks, 7 hit, and they're wielding greatswords, which give them a +2 strength. 4 hits, and they actually do get armor saves. And 1 save, so only 3 die. That is the back row, but that's not as good as I expected. Wow. Yeah, the greatswords definitely lose the combat by 7. They are stubborn, which means they also ignore the combat resolution, so they are testing on an 8. Which they fail! They flee 9 and are pursued because of Swift Stride 6. So they do manage to escape the pursuit. But not by much. Oh, look at that! Because of the depth of the unit, they were almost caught again. And if I didn't obey the 1-inch... if I did obey the 1-inch rule, they might have been wiped out there. I don't know. Empire, turn 2. Although holding the obstacle is a benefit, it's not going to stop them from charging out of cover. So that they need a 6 to complete the charge, which they get. So the halberdiers charge out of cover. Swordsmen, likewise, they need a 7 to complete theirs, which they don't get, so they lose their cover bonus. But they only move 3 inches forwards. And as long as your infantry cover has, barriers like this have no effect on movement or anything, they don't need to test dangerous or anything like that. Oh yeah, these are going to try and reform out of defeat. Again, I should have done it last time. I always forget. They succeed. So that means I can slightly shift them over, like so the next knight can fight. And they are going to reform to face this way. Oh, before I do that though, I should test these on 8. They do reform as well. However, what that probably means, I'm going to have to shift these, hang on, probably means that they're going to be able to get another charge off next round. Magic. 7 and 4. Channeling. Nope. Channeling. Nope. Gonna start off with a normal penumbral pendulum on 13 using 3 dice. That is a pass with 14. He does still have the withering, which could be a nasty one as he's sort of surrounded by things going in combat. And he's only targeting the goblins who aren't really doing anything, so he's actually going to let the goblins are actually going to let the spell go through. They want to save their dispel dice. 66 range, 19 inches. Oh, that's really not much. So basically just Zarge the Zoblin, taking an initiative test, which he fails. A strength 10 hit with multiple wounds, so he's wounded, and it does D3 wounds. So this could just kill him outright. No, he got very lucky. He only took 1 wound from that. Literally anything higher than a 2 on that dice would have killed him. Oof. And then he's going to cast Withering on these guys. They're within the 18 inches, and it's a 13 to cast. On his remaining 4 dice, 17. Trying to dispel on 4. 15, it passes. Their toughness is reduced by 3. Oof. And that's a remains in play as well. Shooting. Starting off, these guys are going to shoot at the boars. They're all within half range, but they did move. 5 hits. 3 wounds. Wow. Normally cavalry only gives a +1 to the armor save, but boars have thick skin, which increases it by an additional 1. 2 failed. Wow, those archers are really doing their work. But that's not quite the 25% needed to cause a panic test. These archers are going to shoot at Ugrok, but I'd say only 8 of them can hit. These 2 are blocked by the shrine, and they're all at long range. 1 hit. Because he's riding a wyvern, you have to roll to see whether it hits him or the wyvern. 1 to 4, it is the wyvern. It hits the wyvern. They're about as tough as each other, but no wound. And then the mortar is firing again. Can it see that? It can. Go a little bit to the left, actually. Yeah, the mortar is line of sight of that. Scatter. Oh, misfire. That's bad. And it is a 3. So cannot fire this turn or next turn. Could have been worse. Combat, the only one. Oh no, there's this big one in the middle, but we're gonna go. Oh damn! Oh damn! I completely forgot about Priest Rosen. He has not been paying attention and has not been channeling any magic up to now, and has also not been casting any spells. So that's okay. He's not in combat, so he probably wouldn't have casted anyway. But they could have used the channeling up to now. Anyway, we'll do the Boglin versus Uthman unit. Testing for fear on 9, which they fail. They have weapon skill 1 for this turn. Yikes. Uthman still has a +1 because of his sword of striking, and still gets 3 hits. 1 wound. This is almost dead now. Boglin is probably dead, but let's roll some attacks from the Reiksguard before we find out what Boglin does. 6 knight attacks. 2 hits still. Yeah, Boglin's dead. So no matter what happens at the end of this fight, Boglin is going to be dead. So I don't need to roll any more attacks or like the horses or anything. Just go straight to what Boglin does. And he rolls a jump up and down. First of all, you test to see if he falls over, at which point he might crush some things, which is on a 1. Nope. So instead he does 2d6 strength 6 hits, which is 7. So he might do a significant amount of damage even though he is a dead giant walking. And that is 7 wounds. Oh no! Oh, damn it. I completely forgot to do Thunderstomp in the previous round of combat. Ooh, alright. As that wouldn't actually have affected the combat resolution, I will do that now. So that's 2 strength 6 hits last combat. Let me just make note of... Whoops. Sorry, I got distracted by the fact that they have such a non-standard way of fighting. So Thunderstomp, 1 wound. And miraculously, they do still get a 4+ armor, so he actually saved it anyway. And the 7 for this one. 5 fails. Yikes. Alright, well, one of them still survived back there. So yeah, giants, they're very easy to kill, but they will do a lot of damage in the meantime. So that's Boglin very dead. And they shall reform to face that way, because they're expecting a charge from a Wyvern now. And now this one in the middle, I've been looking forward to this. Like, there aren't many units in this fight, so the ones that are going to be massive clashes. First, there is going to be a challenge. The Orc boss is going to challenge the Halberdier boss, or other way around, I guess. So we'll do that first. The Halberdier boss has slightly higher initiative, so he goes first. And no hits. The Orc boss has 2 hits and gets +1 strength from his choppers, resulting in 1 wound. The high strength goes through the armor, so the Halberdier champion is dead. And now the rest of this massive unit. Because it's a horde, which is 10 wide, they get an extra row of support, giving them a total of 20 attacks. 4 hits, 10 hits total. Yeah, it's about average. Devastatingly, the orcs are reduced to 1 toughness due to the withering spell, so they're probably going to lose a lot of people here. That is 9 wounds. Armor save. 2 were saved, so 7 dead. However, that has not diminished their ability to fight back at all. So 9 attacks fighting back with choppers. 7 hits. Oof, that's well above average. 5 wounds. No armor saves allowed. So that is the whole mini back row of halberdiers gone. They still get 3 each for their rank bonus, and 1 each for the banner, so the halberdiers win by 2. And they are... Ooh. The question is, does his inspiring presence work within the boundary or within the outer boundary? I don't actually know. So, I mean, it's increased to, what's it, 18. So technically they're definitely within it, because like it's the boundary from this thing, whereas it should really be drawn from like any point on them. So yeah, they are within inspiring presence. Testing on 9, they pass. Skullsmasherz Turn 3. Obviously these guys are charging immediately. That goes without saying. The big uns are definitely going to be charging in as well, so they need to get a 4. Oh, animosity. Boars first. Pass. Goblins. The orcs in combat don't need to test, so the big uns. Everybody passes. As I was. Charging, so they need a 4 on 2. Which they just get. And some orcs here are going to have to test dangerous terrain. 1 dies from it. That's okay. Ugrock is going to pull a bait and switch. He's just going to fly straight past these guys. So he's going to go 10 inches to there. And then he's going to have to test to march, because he wants to march around the back of these guys. So testing on a 9. He just passes, but is allowed to move another 10 inches. So he's going to go to there. And then rotate, because he is an independent character who don't need no pivot. These goblins, who have been living in these woods, basically, are going to move further out, followed by Kiskir. And Omdok suddenly really doesn't have anything he can do. So he's going to instead look towards the knights. So he's going to move 4 inches this way while still staying in the safety of the woods. Magic. 6 and 5. Channeling for the orcs. Channeling for the Empire. Wow. 4 1s in a row. This is not a magical turn. And about the only thing I can do is a Gaze of Mork. So I guess a Gaze of Mork against the Reiksguard. Really sort of pushing the range, so I'm going to have to upcast it. 10 plus on 6. 18. Trying to dispel on 5. Irresistible dispelling. So no magic, basically. No shooting, so combat. First of all, we'll do this one with the impact hits. Because they've been somewhat depleted, they no longer get the +1 for the rank bonus, but they do still get the +2 for being boars. 5 wounds, and 2 armor saved, so only 3 losses to just being hit. But then the boars get to actually strike. I've remembered to challenge this time. The champion is going to fight the champion, so we'll do that first. Boar first. Miss. Boar boss. 1 hit. He has a +2 strength from a chopper and a spear, and gets a wound. And with that, doesn't allow an armor save, so it is, yeah, he's dead. 4 more boars attack. 2 hits. 2 wounds. 1 save and 1 death. 7 boar boy attacks. 4 hits. 3 wounds. 1 more save, 2 more dead. They are just getting sort of annihilated here, just getting ripped away piece by piece. But they do now get to strike back, and hopefully they're going to do some real damage. 10 greatsword attacks. 7 hits. Only 3 wounds. And because of the thick skin, they managed to save 1. But that's still 2 wounds, not even slightly enough to win the combat. They do get 1 for their rank, but they lose the combat by 3. They are stubborn, so that doesn't matter. So as long as they don't flee, they might be able to win this. Testing on 8. They flee again. Come on, guys. They flee. 4. They are pursued. 5. They are run down. They could have won this. If they hadn't fled, letting them get a second round of charges is terrible in many, many ways in this case. They get the impact hits, they get the spears, they get the Tusker charge, and they get the choppers again. So, like, literally their entire thing is charging, and if they hadn't fled, they definitely could have won in subsequent rounds. As it was, they just get chased down. So they move forward 4 inches. And actually, they would have lost their standard the first time they fled. I always forget that. But that is, yeah. That's the Boar Boys wiping out one of the best units in the Empire army. Definitely close enough to trigger a panic in the archers. Testing on a 7, which they pass. We'll do this one next. Halberdiers versus the Orcs. And they probably should have tried to dispel this, because you can dispel remains in play spells on subsequent turns by just rolling higher than the minimum casting, so the 13. No one left to challenge, so the Halberdiers go first. 21 attacks. 5. 10 total. 4 wounds. Oh no, sorry. My mistake, not 4 wounds. They still have only 1 toughness. So it is still wounding on a 2. So that would have been 9 wounds. So I already rolled 4 of the saves. The other 5. A total of 8 fails. They lose all of those. They definitely should have dispelled that spell. Orc boss first, as he has a higher weapon skill. 1 hit. And now they don't get their choppers. That's only for the first round of combat. So no wound. 9 other orcs. 3 hits. 1 wound. No save. And I have just realised they should have been getting a parry save. The orcs. Because they're wielding hand weapons and shields. So all of the ordinary orcs should have been testing on a save. Are they within? No, they're not within the Sigmarite Shrine. So I'm going to quickly test on the 7. Did I remove the wrong ones? I did. I removed the wrong ones. Whoops. Sorry, because they look identical, I removed the big uns. Ooh, that would have been awkward to notice in the edit, wouldn't it? Sorry, the 8 that I removed from the big uns instead. So I'll test the 7 that were already dead and the 8 that were about to die. So 15 tests on a 6+ ward. Okay, only 1 succeeded, but that is still 1 more alive than would have been, I guess. There, see? Kept a whole row intact, sort of. And I was counting the victories on these as well. Come on. They just... I don't know why, I just completely got those wrong. 2 each for ranks, 1 each for a banner, and the orcs lose by 6. They're definitely not near enough crack 2 for now, so they're testing on their own, which means they need a double 1. Which they fail. So they flee 10 and are pursued 6. They flee and are pursued. With 1 going into the wood. So he is going to have to test. And he fails! So the one guy broke his ankle stepping into the woods. That will trigger a panic in the goblins, which they pass. And now this fight for real, with them charging. They don't get any bonus from defending the barricade because they are half on the barricade. And the difference between the ordinary orcs and the big uns is they've got a higher strength and higher weapon skill, so they are a tougher unit in general. But they are also within 6 inches of the Sigmarite Shrine, so they have to re-roll any ward saves, which is the parry save they get. The orcs big un is going to challenge, and Rosen will accept. So we will do that first. Even though I forgot Rosen was here for most of this. Rosen has the higher initiative, so he strikes first. He is also equipped with 2 hand weapons, which gives him an extra attack. 2 hits. He also has Hatred, allowing him to reroll the miss, so 3 hits. 1 wound, which he saves. Biggun's attacks, 1 hit, and he gets the +1 strength from the choppers, so it's a wound, and no armor save, because the strength cancels it out. So Rosen takes a wound. 21 swordsman attacks. 5. 10 hits. Oh, I do get to re-roll them because of Hatred. So that's 3 hits, 3 wounds out of the 10, but I do get to re-roll the others that missed, which is another 6, giving an additional 1 wound for a total of 4. And 1 save, 3 deaths. Also, I have now remembered I need to remove that standard, so because they fled. Oh, Kiskir probably needed to test as well. I really should have measured it, but I think they're about here, which would put Kiskir in the range. Testing on a 5. Oh, yeah, he flees. Total of 11. Which is all the way over here. And he will have to test for difficult terrain for running through the wood. He passes the save. He's fine. 9 big-un attacks against the swordsman. Back to that. 6 hits. 6 wounds because of the choppers. Parry save. 1 fail. Sorry, 1 success, 5 fails. But that does remind me that the 1 kill they got does need to take a parry save. With a reroll on a success. But he fails it, that's okay. 3 for ranks and 1 for a banner. 3 for ranks and 1 for banner. The orcs win. But they are steadfast because this rank of 5 means they have more ranks, so they don't take the combat rares into account, which is lucky for them because otherwise they would probably be breaking right now. They're also within Uthman's range, so they're testing on a 9, which they pass. Empire turn 3. It is looking fairly ropey out there. Like the Empire battle line is, I say it's mostly collapsed. It hasn't, has it? Just there's this giant gaping hole here where the great swords were supposed to pull their weight. Once again, I have ended up with my knights on the far side of a piece of impassable terrain from the things they need to charge. Why do I always do this? How do I need to plan better. I need to not keep letting this happen. Oh well. They're going to reform and face that way because they are determined to kill Ugrok. Folk is going to move 4 inches this way, but otherwise not do anything. And that is... Oh no. Oh yeah, I can charge here. I almost forgot that. Yeah. Do I want to charge or do I want to... Ooh. I think it might be... I don't know. Because I could charge to try and take them out. Or I could reform and take on the big uns or the night goblins. I think I'm going to do that. They're probably going to rally though. No, I'm going to reform so that I'm not charging into woods because that seems dangerous and silly. So let's reform to there. So I can charge the goblins next round. And I don't think the big uns are going to be as much of a threat in the second round of combat. It's the choppers that make them so deadly. And now they've sort of used them. So, magic. 7 and 5. Channeling orcs. 1. Channeling empire. None. You can't cast a remains in play multiple times, so instead of the withering, I'm going to go with another penumbral pendulum on the goblins. 3 dice. 13 needed. Nope, not even close, so he's done. Which means the chance of getting a battle prayer through is suddenly considerably lower. Nonetheless, I'm going to try and cast Hammer of Sigma, which would allow them to reroll wounds, and that's on a 3+, so I'm going to use 4 dice, all my remaining dice. Oh, this isn't looking good. 12 total. He's going to use all 6 to try and dispel. Yeah, that dispelled it. Shooting. Is that within the front arc still? It is. Good. Alright, yeah, all 10 of these are going to shoot. They haven't moved, so they get to just shoot freely. 7 hits. 3 wounds. 1 kill. Not terrible. If these archers survive, I might name them, because they have really done their work on killing off boar boys. Like the boar slayer unit or something. I don't know. Up here, there is actually no one for these archers to shoot. I did not think this through, because they have to shoot to the front arc, so... Oh. Whoops. And the mortar can't fire this turn anyway. Combat. There is actually only the one combat in this, and it's the Biggins versus the Swordsman. So, first of all, the challenge goes on. Rosen versus the Biggin. Rosen got 0 hits. The Biggin champion got 2 hits. 2 wounds. And he fails them both. Rosen is killed. Rosen is killed in a fight with a normal... I mean, I say a normal orc. Relatively normal orc. You know, it's like the best of the best normal orcs, but it's still... Oof. That is nasty. 21 swordsman attacks. 7. 11 hits. 5 wounds. 2 saved. 1 more saved, but has to be re-rolled. So 2 wounds. 3 wounds. That is not very good, because now 9 strike back. 4 hits. 3 wounds. Oh, 2 saved. But no parry save. So 1 dead. Oh, I think it's going to be a draw. 3 for rank. 3 for rank. Because there aren't 5 in this extra rank. Not that they get more than 3 anyway. So banner and banner. So yeah, it's a draw. Skullsmasherz Turn 4. Animosity. There is just the Night Goblin. Oh no, the boar boys as well. So boars first. Pass. The goblins. Pass. First of all, Ugrok is going to charge the archers. He has terror, which means they might flee straight away. They are within the generals, so they're testing on 9. They pass. So they get flank charged. We'll see if the orcs rally on a 7. They do. Like so. And Kiskir on a 5. Nope, he's still running. And that is another 10 inches. He runs fast when he wants to. Or if he was running in any other direction, he'd be off the board now. The goblins are going to reform, because they're anticipating a charge. The boars are going to reform, because they're planning to charge. And that is it. So we still have Umdoc, who is going to just conveniently rotate to look at them as we go into magic. 8 and 5. Channeling 2. Channeling 1 now that Rosen's dead. Nope. First things first, let's get rid of this withering. So I need to roll 13 to dispel. Well, 11 because of the +2. Yep, that is dispelled. So they are no longer affected by that. I'll go with a Gaze of Mork on... Ooh, I'm going to have to do it on 5 if I want it to get through. Oh, Irresistible Force. Welp. 4d6 distance. 13 inches. So that goes straight through there, I think. Does this one have a champion anymore? It does not, so it doesn't matter. I just need the highest number of unit models hit, which is, I think, right there. 6 halberdiers. Do we have more units in combat than fleeing? We do. We've got 1 fleeing and 2 in combat. So he gets a +1 to the strength. Strength 5. Making 4 wounds. No saves at that strength. No shooting, so we will crack on with the Biggin combat. And the Biggin will challenge the Swordsman Champion. Swordsman Champion first. 2 hits. 2 wounds. 1 succeeded armor. And no parry, so yeah, he's dead. Kills the big 'un champion. Nice one. And then 20 swordsman attacks. 3. Ooh. 6. That is poor. 3 wounds, though. 2 saved. Oof. Only 1 kill. Yikes. 10 big 'un attacks back. 5. Their higher strength really makes the difference. That's 2 hits. 2 wounds, sorry. No saves. And 1 parry. So 1 dead. Not too bad, actually. The swordsmen, I think, have won that. But yeah, the higher toughness that the big 'uns have, sorry, the higher strength that the big uns have and the higher weapon skill just makes them so much harder to kill. 3 for ranks, 2 for ranks, banner and banner. So the swordsmen win by 2. They are within Cracktooth's radius, so they are testing on a 9. 7, sorry. Which they pass. Yeah, 7 because they do get the -2 for the loss. And now Cracktooth versus some archers. First of all, testing for fear on a 7. Or is it on a 9? Yeah, they are within the 12. So it is on a 9, which means they do pass. But Cracktooth is wearing the armor of Gork, which gives him D6 impact hits. So he deals 3 impact hits at his strength, I assume. So that is 3 wounds. No armor. I don't think these archers are going to last very long. So Cracktooth attacks first. Pretty poor showing though, only 2 hits. Choppers, not that he needs them. 2 wounds. And now the one surviving archer who can is going to strike at the same time as the Wyvern. The archer is going to try and hit Ugrock himself, which he does not manage to do. Wyvern's attacks are poisoned, but none are 6s, so no poisoned. And I will also roll for Thunderstomp. So that's a total of 7 hits. And as expected, a complete wipeout. All of the archers are dead. And he is going to try and he is going to overrun because he's worried about the Reiksguard who are about to charge into his back. So he is just going to overrun. He has Swift Stride actually, so I'll roll an extra 1. 8. So he just goes charging off 8 inches in this direction. Probably still within range of the knights, but he's slightly harder to hit. Anyway, the mortar has to take a panic test on 7, which he passes, just as we go into Empire turn 5. So 13 inches. They need to roll a 6. That is very, very doable. Hang on. Do they get an extra 1 for Swift Stride? They do. That's very lucky, otherwise they would have failed it. 7. So they do make the charge. And they are predominantly in his flank, so they hit him in the flank. Over here, the halberdiers are going to charge into the goblins, and they are within the minimum, so they can just move over here so they don't actually charge into the woods. The Boar Slayers seriously considered charging the orcs basically just to stop them from getting a charge off, because if they charge and then just carry on, they could kill Folk just by overrun. But they're going to stand and shoot instead. Although they're going to be within their minimum range, aren't they? Ooh, come on. Come on. They're going to be within their minimum, so yeah, they're going to... can't believe I'm going to do this. They're going to charge. The boar boys, the boar killers, are going to charge the boars in a heroic attempt to stop them from... Come on, pick up that bloody thing. Heroic attempt to stop them from getting yet another merciless charge off and hopefully pinning them down here for an extra turn. God, that might be a really stupid thing. They're probably going to get killed off. And then, no, it's the best chance they have. They're going to get charged either way. They're not going to be able to stand and shoot. This is their best chance. Magic. 7 and 4. Channeling. I shouldn't have channeled 2 for the orcs last time. Doesn't matter because I don't think they got any, but because Kiskir is fleeing. So they're only channeling 1 each, but no, nothing. Them dispelling the withering has actually freed it up for Folk to put it on somebody else. So he's going to... You know what? I'm going to use all 6 on withering the big uns, because they are causing me no end of trouble with their higher toughness. 17. Dispelling on the 4 they have. 19. They actually dispel it on 2 fewer dice. Alright, well that was magic. Can the mortar shoot? I'm going to say probably not. I mean, even if these models were lower where they should be, there's still a load of horsemen and other things between them and the one unit they can shoot at, so no shooting. Straight into the combat. Let's work our way up from the bottom to the big clash at the top. The Boar Slayers versus the Boar Boys. The archers strike at the same time as the boars themselves, so I'll go with the archers first. 10 attacks, 3 hits. That's not good. 1 wound, saved. Well, they tried. 5 boars, 2 hits. 1 wound, no armor, so 1 dead. Boar Boy champion next. 1 hit, and they don't need to be on the charge to use their choppers, so he gets +1 strength. 1 kill, and the other 4, 3 hits, only 1 wound. Oh no, they wound on 3s because, that's 3. The archers lose by 5, so they're testing on double 1. No, they flee. 5 inches, pursued. They were so valiant. They tried. They tried, but try as they might, even the Boar Slayers could not defeat the Boar Boys. Goblins versus Halberdiers. First of all, there are no champions, so no challenges. Zarge the Zoblin goes first. Oh, whoops, I almost forgot. They have the Bad Moon Banner. That is something that Zarge bought, which means any unit that charges them counts as charging through dangerous terrain. So I need to take 34 dangerous terrain tests for the Halberdiers. 4 fail. 5 total. 6 total. Oof. Nasty. Anyway, Zarge's attacks. 1 hit. 1 kill. Oh, I forgot to roll for netters. So I need to roll a d6 to see who gets netted up. It is the Halberdiers, so they are striking at -1 strength this round. And they all strike simultaneously, so I'll do the Halberdiers first. 23 Halberdier attacks. 10. Wow, a total of 19. Even with the -1 strength, they might still just demolish them. 6. 9 wounds. Armor save. 2 pass, so still 7 wounds. Whole back row. Because this is a horde of goblins. Because they were charged this round, they don't get the extra rank for having spears, but they are still fighting in 3 ranks. 27 goblin attacks. 5, 9, 10 total. 5 wounds. No saves. 1 rank. 3 ranks. Brings it up to a draw. But because there's a battle standard, they actually go up by an extra 1, so they win. The goblins beat the Halberdiers. They test on a 6. And fail. So they flee. 8 and are pursued. 8. The Halberdiers are run down by the goblins. The first thing the goblins have really done, and it's to wipe out another unit. 11 of them are going to have to test for difficult terrain, but they move 8 inches that way. 2 fails. Definitely a worthy price to pay for wiping them out. Yikes. The Skullsmasherz have quite succinctly mopped up this entire half of the battlefield. All that's left are these 3 things and Folk. Let's see if they can continue the trend. Biguns versus Swordsman. 22 Swordsman attacks. 3, yikes! 9 total. Not terrible. Because there's no withering, they only get 3 wounds. No saved. 1 parried with a reroll. Yeah, 3 wounds. 10 Bigun attacks back. 7 hits. 6 wounds. 1 save. 2 parries, so 3 wounds. Still have enough for 3 ranks, but only 2 on that side, meaning the swordsmen win by 1. So they are still within that, so the Biguns are testing on a 9, which they pass. And here we have Uthman's unit charging Ugrok Cracktooth. It's stupid to challenge or accept a challenge here, but they sort of have to just for... No. Uthman's going to be ruthless. Uthman knows that accepting a challenge here, while honourable, is a bad idea. So he is going to refuse the challenge, move to the back, and let his knights wail on this. But first of all, we do have impact hits. Just the 3, though. First of all, randomize who they hit, and they all hit the Wyvern. They get a +1 for the rank bonus, but no wounds at all. Ugrok gets to strike first. 3 hits. Need to roll for fear. This would have been done before the challenge, so they would have used his 9, and that would be a pass. 2 wounds on the Reichsguard. 1 armor save failed and 1 passed. And now the guards strike at the same time as the Wyvern, so I'll do the Wyvern first. Poisoned on a 6+, so 1 poisoned. Another wound, so 2 wounds. Both saved, though. And see, this is why Uthman chose to decline the challenge, because now they get 7 attacks with lances instead of just him with a sword. And they're all going to go for just Ugrok. 5 hits. Their lances give them +2 to hit. 3 wounds. Oh, actually, sorry, before rolling to wound, I should have remembered the Armour of Gorg gives him increased toughness. So his toughness is up by 1 this round. So they needed a 4, which is only reduced it down to 2 wounds taken instead of 3. Which is lucky for him because he doesn't get any armor save from the high strength. So he would have died. He would be dead now if his Armour of Gorg didn't protect him. 3 horses. 3 hits. No wounds. And I believe the Wyvern does get to Thunderstomp even though it's to the flank. So it stomps 3 hits. 2 wounds. Oh no, it doesn't get to stomp because they're cavalry. I mean, they were saved anyway, but yeah, you can't stomp cavalry, they're too big. So overall, with the banner and the rank, Ugrok loses by 5. So he's testing on a 4, which he fails. So he flees 9 and is pursued 11. Ugrok's run down. Wow. The leader of the clan is the leader of the tribe is just dead. And unlike other ones, you know, it's going to be hard to justify them letting him go when they've just run him down with lances. Quite a devastating turn all round. As we go into Skullsmasherz Turn 5. They only need a 3 to charge Folk, so they are going to charge that. They definitely get it, however he is going to take the flee reaction. So 9 plus their 7 is a total of 16, and they're 10 away. So depending on how much he flees, he may be able to escape them. 10. Yeah, he definitely gets away. So he flees to here, has to pass straight through them because he can't end inside. So yeah, he is now fled quite a long distance, and they would have to take a panic if they weren't already in combat. So I believe they just move forward the 9. These goblins are going to try and charge there. 7, so they need a 3, which they get. So they're just going to tuck in. Oh no, they can move there. Because they're not defending the barrier, so the barrier effectively doesn't exist. And now Kiskir, whether he flees on a 5. Yeah, he keeps fleeing, and he's almost certainly off the board now. Yeah, there he goes. Welp. He tried, barely, did nothing. Didn't cast any spells, he was just here to watch and then ran away. Orcs are going to rotate and then move up. And they're far enough away that they can freely march. So they're going to rotate another 2 and then move up another 2. And Umdok has just noticed this lone wizard emerge right ahead of him. Oh, would you look at that? He's just going to move a little step to... Oh, God, I picked up something. He's just going to move a little step to the side to all the better blast him. Like so. Magic! 7 and 4. And only Umdok gets to channel because the other side is dead or fleeing. 15 might be a bit hard, so I'm going to go with an upcast Gaze of Mork. Oh, damn! He got an irresistible casting in a previous round, which I completely forgot to punish him for. So I will do that now, because he just got another one. That's I forgot. Sorry. He would have got magical feedback, so he would have taken a strength 6 hit, as would have the other guy, Kiskir. Omdok would have taken a wound. Kiskir would have taken a wound. Gaze of Mork, 8d6, 34 inches. Easily enough for him to hit Folk. And we definitely have more in combat than fleeing, so it is a strength 5 hit. Definitely a wound, no save, so Folk is injured. No shooting, so let's go into the mega combat in the middle. Zarge is going to challenge, which will be accepted. They both strike at the same time, so I'll do Zarge's first. 3 hits, wow. 3 wounds. No saved. 1 parried, so 2 wounds. So he's definitely dead, but can he do any damage in return? No, he cannot. Oh, I need to do the netters. I always forget about the netters. I say always. In the 2 rounds that they've been there, I forgot about them. So they're striking at -1 strength. 3 against the Night Goblins. 3 hits. Because of the net, only 1 wound. Not saved. I forgot to roll animosity. Boars. Orcs. Okay. And goblins. Okay, they actually would have failed animosity. What would that have done? 4. Squabble. They must declare a charge. Okay, they did that anyway. Alright, that worked out. 21 attacks against the big uns. 6. 13. Nice. Unfortunately for them, the one turn they managed to get a load of hits is the one turn they have -1 strength. Still 4 wounds though, still better than they bloody normally do. No saved. 1 parry that gets re-rolled. Yeah, no saves, 4 dead. A total of 24 Night Goblin attacks because of spears, horde and support. 8. 13 total. 4 wounds. 1 save. 1 parry, 2 wounds. Could have been worse. 10 big uns. 5 hits. 5 wounds. No save. 2 parries, 3 dead. They get 3 ranks. They get, just the 2 ranks. Banner, battle standard. So the swordsmen lose by 6. They are within range of the general, so they are testing on a 3, which they almost succeed but do not quite. So they break 7 and are pursued 6, and the goblins 11. So it is over for the swordsmen. Uthman's unit aren't quite within the 6 inches to panic. The rules say that they flee from the most numerous unit, but I don't know if that means they're fleeing from here, or if they're fleeing from, like, here, or, you know, because that's really going to affect the fact that they're not getting away from this, basically. So yeah, I'm going to say that they just get run down basically where they stand. A massive unit of swordsmen just gone, like so. Yikes. Empire turn 5. They are going to have to pull some really good rabbit out of a hat for this. They can't charge. I should put Uthman back in the front rank. The knights can't charge, so what they will do is they will... they can't quite turn all that way without going off the board. Yeah, so they're just going to reform. They're going to have to reform where they stand, and this is their best chance of surviving. Just standing side by side with the mortar, the only thing that's left, which could have fired... Oh no, it couldn't see anything to fire, could it? Folk is trying to rally. He is not quite within the range. So he's rallying on a 7. He succeeds. So he is going to... he's going to turn and face that way. Because he has a pendulum in his pocket and is very happy to see these orcs. Magic 10. Channeling orcs. Channeling Empire. No. He sees this as his perfect chance. If he manages to do a really good pendulum, he could just take out 3 units. So he's going to use all 6. Oh, he has a Talisman of Endurance, which means he gets a 5+ ward save. So he's going to see if he saved. He would have saved that wound he took before, so he isn't hurt. Okay, I need to remember to check that stuff. There's just so many things to check, I'm sorry. Right, he is going to use 6 dice to try and cast Pendulum. Miraculously, it wasn't irresistible. 23. 5 to try and dispel. 17, it passes. 66 doubled. 46 inches. That is going to be devastating. Wow. Right through there. Yeah, he really wants to hit the boars. So 4 big uns, 5 goblins, and 2 boars. 4 big uns, 5 goblins, 2 boars. 4 big uns, 2 succeeded. God damn. And even one of them didn't take a wound from it. Insane that only a single big un died from that. 5 goblins, 2 failed. Both are dead. 2 boars. Oh, 1 failed and 1 succeeded. They can't panic from it. No, we really threw everything in that hoping to make the boars panic, but sadly he was unable to. Because if he targeted differently, see, he could have taken out more of the big uns, but he thought no, he wanted to try and take out the boars. Oh, he may have miscalculated there. Because the boars had a slightly higher initiative, because he uses the highest one on the model, and the war boar itself has a higher initiative than the guy riding it. Okay, well, that was worth a try. And then he'll also try and cast Withering on the big uns. So he's only got 4 dice left. 13 needed. Passes. Reducing their... Oh, only by 1, but still. -1 toughness. Shooting. The mortar is definitely going to be able to shoot. Because they can pivot freely before firing. And he's going to aim right there. Trying to take out both the big uns and the goblins. Roll scatter. Direct hit. So, 1 big un is hit with a strength 6. Wound. And that would be 6 more big uns, because I shouldn't have removed that guy preemptively. 6 big uns hit with strength 2. But the reduced toughness is actually going to make this easier. 2. No saved. And that is 25%, so they are going to have to take a panic test. I'm going to make note of that. Zarge gets hit, as does the champion. No wound on Zarge. Or on the champion. 19 other goblins are also hit. 5 wounds. That's pretty poor. But they get no armor from it. Testing the big uns on 7. And they just hold. Oh, that was close. No combat, so we go into the Skullsmasherz final turn. Animosity. Everybody test for it now. Boars. Pass. Orcs. Pass. Goblins. Fail. And get 'em. Inflict d6 strength 3 hits on the closest friendly unit. Wow, okay. Yeah, so they are now getting the big uns. Just directly in front of them. It's the Goblin Uprising. Zarge has seen that the orcs can't fight properly, so the goblins are taking over. Because they're a horde, they actually inflict 2d6 strength 3 hits. 6 hits. 4 wounds. 3 saved. Doesn't say that it counts as like a close combat, so I don't think they get a parry for it. There's just 1 more dead. But that can't cause a panic. However, it does mean that neither of these are going to move. They don't need to test for animosity, but neither of them get to do anything else. They're just out of the fight. The boars can charge. So they are going to try. 13, they need a 6 on 2. Which, oh, hang on. Swift Stride. Which they still don't get. They only get a 5 total. Yikes. So they move forward to there. What can these guys even do? They're stuck on the far side of a giant scrum. Thinking, ooh, could we get in on it? Magic. 9. Channeling. Channeling. Nope. Oh, if he'd moved, he could have got a Gaze of Mork that hit Folk and the mortar. But, oh well, he's just going to do a Gaze of Mork on 6. Really tempting fate with his 3rd. Oh, damn, he got it again, didn't he? I forgot to test him again for his previous bloody miscast. So I'm going to miscast him twice now. 5. Calamitous Detonation. Every model, including the wizard, takes a strength 10 hit. Yep, he takes a wound. So he just blows up. He's gone. Omdok is dead. He just explodes on the spot for just pushing his luck twice too many. What would he have got for the next one? A power drain. The nicest result. But no, he's these woods just... Like, Folk is just there doing a pendulum, and suddenly just poof, as a load of trees explode quite some distance to his right. No shooting, and actually no combat. So we go into the final Empire turn. And they are going to charge. Do they charge the boars, the goblins, or the big uns? The big uns are the ones who cause the most trouble. They can technically charge the boars. They are within the front arc. But no, I'm going to go with the big uns, see if we can wipe them out. Like, the boars and the big uns are both under half strength now, so they will get points for both. They'll get nothing for the goblins, but this way, if they can take out the big uns. So they're within the minimum, so just charge straight in and take out the big uns. And Folk is going to move 4 inches this way to get a better line on orcs for another pendulum. Speaking of which, magic! It would be nice if we get a spellcaster who survives the game, but we will see. Channeling Folk. Oh, we got it! Not that he really needs that. He's probably not going to cast... Yeah, he's already got the Withering on that. Yeah, he's just going to go with the pendulum. Full power pendulum. Does he need full power? Probably not, no. He's just going to use fire 4. He doesn't want to explode. 16. 4 to dispel. 14. Passes. 66 range. 28. How many orcs can he hit with 28 inches? That's probably the best he can do. 6. Not amazing, but not terrible. Champion. Fails. Dies. 5 others. 3 fail. All die. And 4 out of 15 is over 25%, so that does trigger a panic test. On 7, they just pass. The mortar is also going to fire at those orcs, because these are a little bit close, like if a bad scatter could bring it onto the right guard. I mean, that's true with basically anywhere he fires, but if we can get these below 50% as well, that'd be pretty good. Yeah, you can see over the rest. Scatter... Direct hit, but a misfire. Oh no. Don't tell me the mortar's about to explode on the final turn. Malfunction, just can't shoot. So, like, the mortar has spent, like, 3 out of 6 turns unable to fire. This is not a good mortar. I suppose the times it did fire, it did a lot of damage, so maybe it balances out. But the final combat of the game, first of all, impact hits. And you see, this is why I go for big units of cavalry, because this way, even when, like, a couple have died, or 1 has died, or however many, they still have enough to get the +1 strength. 5 horses, 3 wounds, 1 save, 2 dead. No one to challenge, so just ordinary combat. Uthman, 2 hits, no wounds though. 10 knight attacks with lances. Only 2 hits, shocking. Unsurprisingly, both wound, not parried. 5 horses, 3 hit, 3 wound, 1 save, no parry, 2 dead. So when it's their time to strike back, there is just the standard bearer left, but he does still get his chopper. A hit and a wound, but it's saved. So at the end of that, they get 1 for the rank, 1 each for the banner. The lone biggin loses by 6. He needs a double 1, which he does not get, so he flees 10 and is pursued. Only 8. So somehow the biggins survived the battle. Oh no, he's a banner, so when they break, the banner instantly dies, because last stand. I mean, it wouldn't have been any other one, because, you know, the banner is always the last one left unless there's a champion. So yeah, they do defeat them, and they will. They don't want to overrun through the barricade because that will cause them difficulties. So they're going to try and refrain, which they succeed. And that is how the battle ends. Just this big scrum of units, and this is one of those situations where it's like there is no way the battle would end at this point. You know. It's just, it's like the game has decided that's where we're calling it. But as it is, like, there is no way this fight is ending. People are not walking away from this. No, there's no like, okay, look, we've done our 6 turns. Let's just go our separate ways. And it's one of those weird things where it's just like, okay, yeah, these massive, relatively unblooded units, yeah, they're just going to walk away from each other now. But that is how the game is played. Of the 123 orcs and goblins who entered this battle, 45 have left intact. At least a couple did manage to flee, particularly Kiskir. And of the 174 men from the Reikland who came here, 14 are leaving. They definitely feel more hurt by this. For Dead or Fled, which takes into account half damage units counting as half points, the Empire scored 1,400, plus 100 for defeating the General, and 50 for the 2 Seas standards, giving them a total of 1,550 points. Whereas the Skullsmasherz with Dead or Fled scored 1,192, plus 50 for the Underdog Challenge, which was a champion killing Rosen, and 75 for the 3 Seas standards, giving them a total of 1,317. Due to the 2,000 point match, they were very, very close to a draw, but it was a narrow victory for the Empire, believe it or not. I think it was the size of the Reichsguard unit being like almost a quarter of their points and being almost untouched in the battle meant that they had fewer casualties in points. But that's not it for the Empire in this round of the campaign. They have another battle to come, and that one and this one will sort of average out to determine how many points they get at the end of it all. That will be coming up soon. Next will be the Solland versus Wyvern match. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe for more board games, card games, miniatures like this and TTRPGs. Check out the rest of the Solland Uprising campaign, and I will catch you later.